work, but I really got into it because I enjoyed it so much.
Mm.
And it's not so much exercise, but moving the body, becoming aware of the body, how it's feeling, what we can do to change.
Yeah,
And some very simple practices can make such a big difference.
yeah.
So I really like to get that into my everyday, do some sort of movement every day.
Welcome to episode 120 of the Souls to Soul Care for Trauma and AuDHD podcast. I'm your host, Menezes Cunningham, and this week's guest is Sarah Mottram, physiotherapist, and she was delightful to talk to, as are all my guests. But I especially liked what she was saying about benefiting from taking more space. And it's one of those things that we can easily talk ourselves out of. I shared a space-inducing breath practice with the free subscribers of my Mila Buikas Mondays newsletter, which you can sign up for through the website soulstosoul.ie. But in whatever you're doing, as you listen to this episode, you're making space for yourself to listen to something that's going to potentially help you reconnect with your resources, to remind you of the things in your own practices that help you in different areas of life, as well as learning from my guests. You can access older episodes through soulstosoul.ie/podcast and full transcripts and all the rest of it. But thinking about all sorts of different times in your day, where can you put in those buffers? Where can you offer yourself more spaciousness, time to breathe, time to just be? Let me know in the comments or email eve@soulstosoul.ie. And I look forward to hearing from you and hope that you enjoy listening to or watching this episode as much as I enjoyed making it. Thanks for being here. So, welcome, Sarah. Thanks so much for joining me. Do you want to say a little bit about where people can find you online, how you got into your work, and what you're working on at the moment?
Yes, well, thank you very much, Eve, for asking me along today. I'm delighted to be here. Yes, you can find my work on Instagram, the_movement works. I have a website, themovementworks.co.uk. I'm also on Facebook, The Movement Works, and I've got an Instagram page, Sarah Mottram. And I've been a clinician, a physiotherapist for many years and over 30 years. And in that time, I've worn many hats. I've been a clinician, I've been a researcher. I wrote my PhD, which was on healthy movement, so the long-term health of movement. And up to about 2020, I was a teacher. And for about 20 years, I traveled the world teaching physiotherapists and health professionals and fitness professionals how to explore movement in their patients and clients and how movement can have a big influence on pain. And so with colleagues, we set up a sort of structure of how to look at that. And I did that for, as I say, for 20 years.
Mm.
And then it was time to do something different. And that's really what I'm working on now. And in 2020, I set up an online business, which I call the Healthy Movement Program, to really help people with long-term, long-standing chronic joint pain to really understand in themselves what's going on, kind of lose the labels that they
Mm.
get, and really connect with themselves again and find that there is so much they can do to move on and lead very happy and active lives. So that work is so different
Mm.
from my original work as a physiotherapist, looking for pain, helping people with the pain. Now I'm helping people understand what happens when you have pain for a long time
Yeah,
and how they can manage it themselves. And
yeah.
it's growing all the time. And I have some wonderful people that work with me that are not in the medical profession, but we're all working together to help
Mm.
people find that joy of movement and getting back to the things that they love.
That's wonderful. That's how I got into yoga. It was pain relief in
Mm.
2001. I had endometriosis. I'm postmenopausal now, but I was in pain every day, and just like cat cow. Back then I could do wheel, but abdominal stretches, they worked where painkillers didn't work.
Mm,
And
mm,
then I started going to classes because the effects would last longer than if I just did a little bit on my own. And I used to volunteer in the National Endometriosis Helpline, and people were being prescribed things that would kind of take away hearing, take away eyesight, just focusing on the
mm,
pain because
mm.
only one part of the body was being treated. And I remember like there was no cure, but that's what got me into this. And it was like movement is so important. And I love what you're saying about joy as well, like kind of that. We're mammals, aren't we? We're meant to enjoy being in these bodies of ours. Um, I'd love to hear about your own ideal and actual self-care. So, as I mentioned, I work through the Feel Love Heal framework that I developed, and the feel bit is about the kind of lowercase self-care, the things that help us feel better when we have the bandwidth to like go for a swim or do some yoga or go for a run or a walk or do something different, maybe journaling, anything like that. So the love part is that remembering that we're worthy of joy, we're worthy of love and acceptance and support. So it might be asking for health, help, even health. Remembering that we're part of nature, part of the divine. So the things that help you get into that kind of state of mind. And the heal bit is the community care, the co-regulation. So if we start with the feel bit, what helps you? Like what movements and what other things in an ideal day, an ideal week would you be doing for your self-care?
Well, obviously it's going to be movement, isn't it? And I think, I've been doing that for probably 20 years, both for work, but I really got into it because I enjoyed it so much.
Mm,
And it's not so much exercise, but moving the body, becoming aware of the body, how it's feeling, what we can do to change.
yeah,
And some very simple practices can make such a big difference.
yeah,
So I really like to get that into my every day, do some sort of movement every day. I also have a dog and I
yeah,
love to go out in nature.
yeah,
And what I love about that is there's sort of no excuses. That's got to
yeah.
come rain or shine. We've got to go out. And I think that's really important for me.
And I think what you're
Mhm.
saying, so many people, it's like a dog is an external reminder, but it's
Mm.
taking care of our inner mammal as well. Like we
Yes.
deserve that movement, we deserve
Yes.
that. Yeah. What would be your go-to types of movement? Like, what are your favorite ways to move?
Well, I think it's really something that I've developed through my own system. So become a yoga instructor, a Pilates instructor, but more somatic movement.
Mm,
That's I think the top thing is it's about the awareness. So
mm,
feeling the body as we need, not so much, well, I've got to do this movement
mm,
in this way. It's feeling where something maybe is a little bit
mhm,
stuck, using the breath with the movement. So very organic, I
mm.
think, in the movement.
And if you could only do one thing, like what would be your essential self-care?
Oh, do we have to take it down to a one? Well, of course,
No, you don't. I always feel
yeah.
evil saying one.
I think both. One of the things that I have been doing in more recent years is really working on my creativity,
Yeah,
and I think when I go out in nature now, I am much more aware of what's around me and I
yeah.
see things and I look at things and I hear things. So I think that's a real kind of double whammy. It's not just going out for a walk, but actually it's really enjoying and noticing. And I think it comes back down to that awareness piece. So I would say the one thing is awareness, whether that's through movement or through going into nature.
Mm.
I think that's the thing that helps me the most.
Yeah, lovely. And moving into the love part, that love archetype, that acceptance, that support, knowing that you are part of nature, part of the divine. what helps you? You've already said a bit, but is there anything like, you've mentioned the yoga, do you kind of have any kind of meditation practices that are particularly helpful, or what helps you connect with that highest, wisest, truest part of yourself?
Yes, I think that's such a good question. I have spent years in my career just being so busy, I haven't been able to stop. And I think what's helped me in more recent years, particularly in the last 5 years, when I've been working on my program and really thinking about what helps people, and that certainly has been what helps me. And I think one thing that I really like to do is to spend a bit of time giving myself space.
Yeah,
And I think I never used to do that. I was always on to the next thing. What's the next thing on the list? And
yeah,
now that space doesn't have to be big in terms of time, but it has to be big in terms of allowing.
yeah,
So I really grant myself time now to have that space and just being. And I think with that is losing the self-criticism
yeah,
and not trying to fix everything all the time.
yeah,
To me, that comes with the space and also the self-compassion.
yeah,
It's good. Okay, I might have not have done everything, but what I've done is good, and that's okay. And it's really sitting with that and
yeah,
allowing that to grow and to have that space. And that's something that I really encourage in my program.
yeah,
And because of that, I think I've done it a lot myself in more
yeah.
recent years.
Wonderful. It's so it's it makes me laugh because this is my work, and it feels radical when I drag myself up to the top of the garden to sit on the bench with my lunch if it's not raining. And I'm in the west of Ireland, it rains a lot. It's beautiful, whatever, but I don't want to be sitting out eating in the rain.
Mm,
But
mm,
it's only a few extra minutes, or like all these little
mm,
things, all these little ways in which we can slow down. And I do like a 12-hour silence most weekends, and within half an hour that spaciousness of
mm.
like, it's, when you say it, it's like, yes, it's the most important thing, it's the most. And yet when we're busy, it's like, I need to just do. But when I remember, that is amazing, so I love that. What would be your essential there, like if you could only make space for one thing, or like at one time of day, like where is it most helpful for you?
Yes, I like to anchor in that space at the
Mm.
beginning and the end of the day.
Yeah,
And I think it doesn't need to be long, but
yeah,
it needs to be true.
yeah.
Mm.
So when you say it doesn't need to be long, like what is the minimum that feels? I'm thinking like even a
Yeah.
spacious breath practice, or
Yes.
something like
Yeah.
creating room in the lungs and then emotionally.
Yeah.
But what would be your minimum?
I think 5 or 10 minutes at the
Yeah,
beginning and start of the day. But the thing that I r- really try and work on now is being aware of that sensation when things are running away a bit in
yeah,
the day. And
yeah,
then, as you say, it could only be a breath. But I
mm,
think I find it helpful to stop and think, hang on, is this true?
yeah,
I'm running away with myself. Stop. And that is something that it's taken me years to learn to do
yes,
that
yeah,
because I've always been rushing on
yeah.
to the next thing.
Yeah, babies know how to do it. And then, like, we spend as adults trying to remember that kind of
Mm,
presence and that, yeah, everything we've been conditioned out of. So moving on to the heal part, you obviously create community for your clients, for the people you help with your program, your classes, Pilates, yoga. What other ways do you hold space for others, like that community care, different types of community? We're living in such challenging times for so many people.
mm.
And also, where do you let yourself be held in an ideal world and your actual essentials? So, taking a very quick break and be back with the episode soon. Would you like to work with me without actually working with me one to one, whether that's to do with your location or your budget? I've created the Adventurers online programs so that you can focus in on specific issues you want to improve and benefit from my really holistic approach using everything from yoga and breathwork and meditation to coaching and psychosynthesis and NLP and EFT tapping, crystals, psychoeducation, looking at some of the neuroscience around some of the issues. And I have been putting together online programs to help you with everything from trauma and AuDHD to going for glimmers to stopping pulling your hair out if you have trichotillomania, to getting more organized, sleeping better, dealing with anxiety. There are so many options. And for €33 a year, you get access to all of it. What happens is you sign up, you email me what your wish list is, and I will then send you 3 suggestions for getting started, and I will use your answers to support my own AuDHD brain in finishing the online program that is best for you. It might be something you've already identified, or it might be something that I recognise from your answers. And as more and more are completed, you'll have access to all of those as well. And I'm really excited about these offerings and these ways of working in really focused, kind of laser focused ways. They're mainly 7-day programs, but I don't like telling people how to do anything. The persistent drive for autonomy, otherwise known as pathological demand avoidance, you know what's right for you. It may be that you want to experiment with all of the tools. It may be that only certain tools resonate for you. Again, you know yourself best. Let me know what you are most keen to begin with, and if you have any questions, and you can find out more at soulstosoul.ie/adventures. So looking forward to hearing from you there. Or if you just go to the website, there'll be links, and there'll be links in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening to my first ever podcast ad, and welcome back to the episode.
Well,
I ask a lot, don't I?
In my work, the community space has been very strong. And again, when I set it up, I didn't really realize the power in it.
Yeah.
And I think it really helps people understand that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And when they're not alone, and there are people in very similar circumstances, obviously we're all unique with our circumstances, but that has been really powerful. And many, many people say to me, the community was so good. So it's encouraging people to just share something, even if it's just an emoji. You know, we're here, we're supporting you.
Wonderful.
For myself, I work online, so it can be quite challenging that, but I have built an online community that does support me, and I think that's very strong. And again, what I've noticed as I've sort of broadened my work, I've broadened the people that support me and perhaps people that have been mentoring me. And for me, I've always been sort of in the health field and quite narrow, but I've really broadened out, and I've got a lot of strength and support from that. And more recently, as I've been doing more creative work and I've been doing more artwork, I found a very supportive community in art that has been very special and very new. And I'm excited to do more of that. Again, very new to me, but very nourishing.
Wonderful. And if you could go back to any younger version of yourself and send some love, some wisdom, compassion, what might that be and when?
Yes, I think the wisdom would be, it's okay. It's okay. And not trying to chase and sit there with that space that we've been talking about. Because I think we did have that when we were younger. And then something happened and lost it. And I've got that back. So that would be a very strong thing for me to go back and say, keep that space. I think something else, not so much perhaps when I was very young, but I spent many years, perhaps 20 years, traveling. And I think that was quite harsh because there's a lot of time traveling with everything that goes with it, different places to stay, different food, different timetable. And I think, again, putting a bit more buffer in there and allowing that space again, I think would help me. But again, it was always, oh, we can do this and we can do that and we should be doing this. And I think on reflection now, I would have liked to have had a bit more space when I was doing that.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you want to say again where people can find you online?
Yeah, so Instagram, the_movement works. My website is themovementworks.co.uk. I'm on Facebook. I've got a personal account there, Sarah Mottram, and my work, The Movement Works, and on LinkedIn.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Before you go, please take a moment to ground the episode by just pausing and scanning your parts, all your parts, from the soles of your feet to your soul. So you may want to keep your eyes open, you may want to close them, but planting your feet firmly on the ground, lengthening through the spine if that feels comfortable for you, letting yourself feel held by the chair or whatever it is you're sitting or lying or standing on, and taking just a moment to scan your whole self, your whole body, your whole energy field, and ask yourself what you're going to do for yourself right now. It might be as a result of listening to the episode, it might be something else, it might be a nap, it might be something to eat, it might be some kind of movement, but let yourself ground, let yourself get into the habit of connecting with your inner wisdom and notice what you need and give yourself what you need. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you haven't already and would like to, please like, subscribe, comment, engage across the platforms wherever you may be accessing this. And you can also email me, eve@soulstosoul.ie. Thank you for listening. I look forward to sharing more next week.